afternoon and welcome to this edition of Eye on Sheridan. I'm Kavya Yoganathan.
And I'm Gaston Calzado. Coming up, the jury deliberates the fate of Toronto police officer James Forcillo. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tries to rebrand Canada on the world stage. And controversy continues to build over the lack of diversity in this year's Oscar nominations.
But first, the trial for Toronto police officer James Forcillo continues today. Forcillo is pleading not guilty to 2 second-degree murder and attempted murder of the death of 18-year-old Sami Yatim. Yatim boarded a streetcar while under the influence of ecstasy in the July of 2013. He then drew a small knife on the streetcar, causing panic. After yelling at Yatim to drop the knife, a 50-second confrontation followed, resulting in Constable James Forcillo firing 9 bullets at the teen in 2 separate volleys. It was reported today that the jury did not hear evidence that Yatim was trying to commit suicide by forcing the police to shoot him. The defense wanted to use text and Google searches by Yatim supporting his claim. Forcillo has been out of bail since August 2013. The jury continues to deliberate right now. We'll have the latest on this story if there are new developments.
Jury selection is underway in the case of the murder of Tim Bosma. Bosma was trying to sell his pickup truck online and took 2 men for a test drive on May 6, 2013. His body was found a week later with severe burns. Dylan Millard of Toronto and Mark Schmick from Oakville are now both charged with first-degree murder. The trial is expected to begin on February 1st and last 4 months. Both of the accused are reportedly pleading not guilty.
Fire officials are investigating a huge parking fire in the garage of downtown condo building development. Around noon today, fire crews were called into construction site at the back of Esplanade building. The fire was quickly bumped up to a 2-alarm and 1.9 fire trucks were on the scene. Toronto Fire Services says roofing material, which is made up of a styrofoam base with a rubber overlay, caught fire. No asphalt as some originally thought. All roads in the area have now been reopened.
Covenant House launched its new campaign, Just Like a Girl You Know, today, to help raise funds to end sex trafficking. Toronto Mayor John Tory was there hoping to bring awareness to the issue. Toronto police investigated over 313 alleged human trafficking incidents last year alone. Covenant House hopes to raise over $10 million to help provide victims support. Hamilton police are looking for a suspect after a bizarre break-and-enter event. The suspect reportedly walked into a home through an unlocked door and was then confronted by a group of men inside. Detectives say the group tried to restrain the suspect and he is believed to have been injured. No property damage was done and nothing was stolen from the home. It's still unclear if this was a targeted or random event.
A woman accused of stabbing a stranger in a downtown Shoppers Drug Mart is taking the stand today. 40-year-old suspect Rohini Basir is charged with second-degree murder. Police say a woman walked into the store with a kitchen knife and attacked 28-year-old Rosemary Jr. with no provocation. It happened back in December at the Shoppers Drug Mart in Toronto's Underground Pathway. 5 days later, Basir died. The Toronto Police Services has purchased 51 military-style semi-automatic rifles. These assault weapons will be distributed to each of the city's 17 divisions. Police spokesperson Mart Pugesh says there will be special training for police to use the C8 rifles and that the guns will remain in the patrol car until the situation calls for them.
At least 20 people are dead after a terrorist attack at Bataclan University in Charazda, Pakistan. "60 others were injured. Police exchanged gunfire with the militants and there were reports of several explosions. It all happened while students were congregating in the celebration of the university founder's 28th anniversary. Militants entered the compound by climbing walls at the back of the school and shooting security guards. Officials say 18 students and 2 teachers were killed. The Taliban has released conflicting statements about the attack. One group leader claimed responsibility, while a spokesperson for the main Taliban faction called the attack un-Islamic. Prime Minister Trudeau arrived in Sweden today for the World Economic Forum in Davos. The goal of the visit is to inspire some of the world's most wealthy business people to invest in Canada.
The low oil prices are a challenge, but the Canadian economy is a lot more than just natural resources. We have extraordinary high-tech sectors and innovative manufacturers and really strong biotech, and mostly an educated, diverse workforce that is excited about participating in the global economy.
Trudeau, accompanied by several cabinet ministers, is promoting Canada's diverse workforce and that we are more than just a fossil-based fuel economy. This year's summit is centered around the prospect of a fourth industrial revolution and the idea that technology is driving a new era in the global economy. Trudeau will be in Davos over the next 4 days.
The Bank of Canada announced today it will keep the key interest at 0.5%, despite speculation it would make a cut. Low oil prices, a struggling Canadian dollar, and a lack of economic growth seem to be contributors to the expected drop. But Governor Stephen Poloz surprised economists with the morning's announcement. This would have been the first time that the interest rate would drop below 0.5 since the recession in 2009. A number of Goodwill employees have been laid off for the following closure of 16 of its stores. The non-profit giant shut down locations all across Ontario, including stores in Toronto, to bury because of cash flow crisis. The closures have been described as an indefinite, according to CEO Kyoko Nakamura. The union representing employees of the organization says the sudden closures left 450 people out of a job, with no warning, and calls for layoffs unfair.
With more Syrian refugees expected to arrive in New Brunswick Monday, Immigration Minister John McCallum says housing, employment, and language training will be the top priorities. McCallum also said that he expects the new refugees will quickly settle in and become hardworking citizens, just like the rest of us. Trent University in Peterborough is starting a new Aboriginal program next fall. The Indigenous Bachelor of Education degree will teach things like the history of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. Eventually, the school plans to offer an Ojibwa language course and others specifically related to Indigenous culture. This is all in the hopes of boosting the number of Aboriginal teachers all across Ontario.
As we head into the second week of the winter semester, are you starting to feel a bit stressed out? Well, you're not alone. Let's head over to Crystal Devine for the Learning Commons with the story. Crystal?
Thanks, Kavia. Every student in this room has a lot on their plate, and a new study released shows that we might be the most stressed out generation ever. They may not have kids to feed or house mortgages to pay, but Canada's generation of the future is feeling a lot of stress.
The kind of things that stress me out would have to be things like school, assignments, like personal relationships, friendship.
I don't get any sleep anymore. Like, I have classes running from 8 o'clock till 6 o'clock, and then after that I have group meetings or I have rehearsals.
A survey released by the American Psychological Association says that millennials, or those 18 to 33 years of age, are feeling the weight of the world on their shoulders, more so than the baby boomers and even Canadians born in the Generation X timeframe. The APA also states that the main concern for millennials is finding work after graduation. Sheridan College offers a variety of services to help stressed students find solutions.
To reduce the stress when applying to a job, it's really important to research, to know the job that they're applying to understand the company and the industry, to be able to target the resume and cover letter specifically to that job.
Psychology Today says that finding balance is key, whether it's spending time with your friends or finding some quiet time to do the things that you enjoy. Stress doesn't have to be an issue in your life. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a second to breathe when you're feeling overwhelmed. And remember, our campus counselors are there to help if you need them. Reporting for Ion Sheridan in Oakville, I'm Crystal Devine.
Coming up after the break, ISIS released 270 kidnapped civilians.
The newest addition to our solar system and a new supporter for Donald Trump.
Welcome back. ISIS has released over 270 people who were among the 400 kidnapped over the weekend in Deir ez-Zor, Syria. A critical junction for the group, citizens have seen an increase in fighting, including suicide bombings and mass abductions. Most of the city has been under the control of the group for well over a year.
A suicide bomber on a motorcycle launched an attack near the Russian embassy in the western part of Afghan's capital of Kabul. 4 people were killed and 24 people injured. There have been 6 bomb attacks since the start of the new year, including a rocket landing near Kabul's Italian embassy on the Sunday, which wounded 2 security guards. So far, no one has claimed responsibility for today's attack.
Exciting news for Apple fans in India as the company applies to open Apple stores across the South Asian country. Right now, Apple is selling its products through third world parties without much success. Sarah Palin is throwing her support behind Donald Trump. The former governor in Alaska and 2008 vice presidential nominee appeared at Trump's rally in Iowa, praising Trump's unorthodox ideas and calling mainstream Republicans sellouts. But as Palin spoke, her son Track was under arrest after his girlfriend had reported being punched in the head. He's charged with assault and possessing a weapon while intoxicated.
The leader of the armed militia from Oregon occupying the Mayer National Wildlife Refuge is being asked to leave by local residents. The national park was taken over by the militia earlier this month. At the meeting, several community members spoke directly to Aman Bundy. One woman thanked him for raising awareness, but admitted it was time to go home. Rallies were also held in several other American cities, calling for an end to the armed occupation. Bundy believes federal lands should be in the control of the locals who populate the area and not the federal government. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder spoke to the media today, ensuing the apology for the water contamination crisis affecting the city of Flint.
I'm increasing the support from the Michigan National Guard starting tomorrow to ensure that every home we need to visit in Flint gets visited as soon as possible. And I'm appealing the President's decision not to grant a major disaster declaration. We'll continue to deliver water, filters. We will not stop working for the people of Flint until every single person has clean water every single day, no matter what.
88 schools in Detroit were forced to close today due to a planned sick-out organized by faculty. Teachers are trying to draw attention to large class sizes, substandard buildings, and other problems at the largest school district in Michigan. The sick-outs were planned to coincide with President Barack Obama's visit to Detroit for the annual auto show. 46,000 students were affected.
The United States Coast Guard is suspending its search for 12 Marines who went missing after 2 helicopters crashed near the shores of Oahu, Hawaii. It's believed that 2 helicopters collided mid-air during the nighttime training mission, but that has not been confirmed by the officials.
I'm announcing that the Coast Guard intends to suspend active search efforts tonight at sunset. The decision to suspend this case, the searches, is very difficult. We have not found the survivors.
Stephen Hawking is warning people about the death of the planet coming in the next 1,000 to 10,000 years. Hawking says that we're inching closer to the disaster which could be caused by nuclear war or even the creation of artificial intelligence. He believes our only solution is to start colonies on other planets. After the success of growing lettuce in space, NASA is working on beautifying the space station with flowers. Astronaut Scott Kelly tweeted a picture of a zinnia that he saved after a battle with some space mold. Kelly jokingly compared himself to Matt Damon's botanist character in The Martian. Scientists have discovered a new planet in our solar system. The planet is in question as being dubbed as Planet X and sits just out of reach of Pluto. The gas giant is said to be as large as Neptune and so far from the sun that it would take up to 20,000 years to fully orbit the sun. The new planet is to take over Pluto's old role as Planet 9.
Do you need some tips to help keep your New Year's resolution? Reporter Neil Rampor has the story.
The New Year is a time when people around the world make New Year's resolutions to try and better themselves. It's a time of positivity and smiles.
I made a New Year's resolution to start working out and eating a little bit more healthy.
And so how's that going for you so far?
So far I went to the gym yesterday, so I think I'm on a good start a little bit. Eating some fruits and vegetables, so like that's good, but I think I could do a lot more, and I feel like I've been hesitant on that. And
Here's an interesting fact for you. New Year's resolutions aren't a new concept at all. In fact, they're actually quite old. It's said they go as far back as Babylonian times, where every year the citizens would make promises to their gods to repay debt and return borrowed objects, like this book. Did you set any New Year's resolutions for yourself?
I did.
How are you keeping up with them?
Okay. I could probably do better. I think that bettering myself as a person is going fairly well. I could probably continue to drink more water, but we'll see how it goes.
According to an article on WebMD, some helpful things that can help you be successful with keeping your resolution on track are doing things such as writing it down on a piece of paper, breaking up your goal into individual steps rather than being one thing, and getting positive assurance from friends and family to boost your willpower. So, it seems that the Sheridan students are off to a great start for their 2016. Just remember that you can do anything that you put your mind to. For Ion Sheridan, I'm Neil Rampone.
Coming up after the break, we'll preview the NFL Championship weekend with Molly Casey.
Also coming up is entertainment with Taylor Jabara. With the latest from Hollywood, stay tuned.
Thanks. Welcome to
Hello, and welcome back to Ion Sheridan.
It's a busy time of year in the world of sports. Thankfully, Molly Casey will keep us up to date. Molly?
Thanks, Gaston. The Toronto Maple Leafs took on the Philadelphia Flyers last night, looking to snap their 5-game losing streak. Down 2-1 in the third period, the Flyers tied the game, and it looked as if it was going into overtime. But with 7.5 seconds left, defenseman Matt Hunwick scored the game-winning goal to upset the Flyers 3-2. With the win, the Leafs improved to 17, 20, and 7 this season. The Chicago Blackhawks set a new franchise record last night with a 4-1 victory over the Nashville Predators. The Blackhawks won 12 straight games, the team's longest winning streak ever. The Hawks improved to 32-13 and will take on the Lightning in Tampa for the first time since the 2014-2015 postseason. Canadian Eugene Bouchard is looking to move on to the third round of the Australian Open. It was her first big match since September 2015 in the US Open. After getting out to a 4-2 lead in the first set, Bouchard struggled against Poland's Agnieszka Radwanska with 37 unforced errors and breaking only once out of 7 chances. Radwanska won 6-4 and 6-2 and moves on to the third round. Bouchard said her loss had a lot to do with nerves. The Toronto Raptors look to continue their 5-game winning streak tonight. They're playing against the Boston Celtics at the ACC. Former Raptor Amir Johnson looks to make his debut with the Celtics after leaving as a free agent this summer. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. on TSN. This Sunday, the Arizona Cardinals travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. This is the first time the two Heisman Trophy winners will face off in the championship game. Kickoff is at 6:05 p.m. Although a big matchup, it isn't as big as the Brady Manning 17. The New England Patriots travel to the Mile High Stadium to take on the Denver Broncos, in which will most likely be Peyton Manning and Tom Brady's final game against each other. They've split their postseason series 2-2, with the home teams always winning. The game will be aired on CBS at 3:05. The Sheridan Bruins men volleyball team may not be in contention for the championship this year, but 2 players are leaving their mark in the record books. Kyle Johnston has the latest from the court. Kyle?
For the last 5 years, Jeremy Fanton has called the left side of Sheridan's men's varsity volleyball team home smashing his way to an Ontario record, surpassing 1,000 points.
It's a pretty unbelievable feeling. I didn't even know that there was only 3 people that got over the milestone coming into this year.
Agreeing with his coach that he needed to raise his game, Fanton responded with 335 points over the last 29 matches.
And then I started looking at my points, tallied them up, and I was like, oh, I'm getting close to this big, huge milestone.
The Mississauga native joined Sheridan Bruins teammate Josh Butler in this exclusive group of 1,000-point players.
We were rivals when we played in high school. I was from London, he was from Mississauga, but we always saw each other in OFSA.
Rivals quickly became friends, pushing each other towards the 1,000-point barrier.
I wouldn't have gotten here without him, and he wouldn't have gotten there without me, so it's just worked hand in hand together, and we just got through it all together.
It's a pretty cool thing, and it's pretty cool to say that you're 2 of 5 that have ever done it, and to be on the same team at the same time. I mean, that's OCAA history right there.
Putting their personal achievements aside, Jeremy and Josh have joined fellow Sheridan Bruins teammates in preparation for the next match against Conestoga. Reporting for Eye on Sheridan, I'm Kyle Johnston.
That's all I have for sports. Let's take a look now at what's going on in the entertainment world with your host, Taylor Jabara. Taylor?
Thanks, Molly. The controversy keeps growing over the lack of diversity in this year's Oscar nominations. Chantel Prescott has the latest. Renowned director Spike Lee, who received a Special Achievement Oscar in November, is calling for a boycott for what he believes is a lily-white Oscar ceremony. Actress Jada Pinkett Smith says it's time for people of color to disregard the Academy Awards. For a second year in a row, all the nominees in the acting category are white. Chris Rock is still going to host the event, but tweeted the Oscars, the white BET Awards, and said he'll use the stage as a platform to promote diversity.
Maybe it is time that we pull back our resources and we put them back into our communities, into our programs.
Lee and Pinkett Smith's message has gained momentum and sparked an online conversation that calls for boycotting the Oscars. Public outrage can be seen all over social media on this issue through the hashtag OscarsSoWhite.
I think the lack of diversity for students and prospective people that want to participate in the Hollywood film industry is problematic because we really are, if we're unable to see examples of ourselves, then we really don't have anything to which we can aspire.
Sheridan film students are also upset over the lack of diversity in the nominations.
It's really sad, to be honest. It's very white, very male, and it's always been that way, and I think it's really sad.
It's troubling because we live in such a multicultural society now that we should represent that on screen.
And people of color who are in film schools or working in the industry, I probably feel very disappointed that, they might not even get there. They're not really inspired by what's happening now with the Oscars. In 2016, we thought we had lots of hope and aspirations for inclusion to take place across all sectors, and in films, it's not happening.
Academy Awards is going to air on February 28th, so it'll be up to you to decide whether the most deserving artists will be recognized for their work. For Eye on Sheridan, I'm Chantel Prescott. Good news to all you Adele fans out there. She'll be performing at the 58th Annual Grammy Awards alongside Kendrick Lamar and The Weeknd. Since November, Adele's album 25 has sold about 8 million copies worldwide. Lamar will be going into the night with a total of 11 nominations, including Album and Song of the Year. The show airs February 15th. And buckle up because we're going to show you the highly anticipated trailer for the Suicide Squad movie. Let's take a look.
You mind toys.
Mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia,
let me go.
Let's do something fun.
This action film might look familiar to some of you viewers out there since it was shot in Toronto last year. The movie is expected to be in theaters this August. Singer and actor Jamie Foxx is being recognized for a heroic act. Foxx unbuckled and dragged a man from a burning vehicle that flipped multiple times in front of his LA home. Despite the brave actions, Foxx doesn't consider himself a hero. The driver's father hugged Foxx and called him a guardian angel. On a sad note, Sopranos actress Jamie Lynn Sigler made a shocking announcement that she has been battling multiple sclerosis for the past 15 years.
She was diagnosed at 19, well into the 4th season of the show. Over the past decade, her symptoms have become worse. The 34-year-old actress says she wasn't emotionally prepared to tell the public her condition until now. That's all that's happening in the entertainment world. Back to you guys in the studio.
And now time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at what can be expected in weather this week.
Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Eye on Sheridan.
It's time now to go outside with Delisha Williams with the chilly January forecast. Delisha?
Thanks, Kavya. Right now, it's mainly cloudy with a little bit of flurries that just started to come down not too long ago, sitting at a high of -3 with a wind chill of -10. Temperatures will drop down low to a -11 tonight. Good news, lots of sunshine in the forecast. Bad news, it's still winter. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Tomorrow is mainly sunny with a high of -2, which will feel like -7. There will be a 40% chance of flurries in the afternoon, dropping to a low of -11 at night. Friday will see a mix of sun and clouds sitting at a high of -2, feeling like -5, then dropping to a low of -6 in the evening. Bring out your sunglasses. The weekend is looking a bit bright. Lots of sunshine for Saturday with a high of -4, feeling like -11, so you might want to bundle up. Temperatures will dip down to a low of -10 at night. Sunday will be a mix of a sun and cloud with a high of -1, which will feel like -5, going down to a low of -6 in the evening with scattered flurries. Say goodbye to the sunshine. Monday we are moving into a cloudy period with a 40% chance of scattered flurries and a high of -1, dropping to a low of -3. Despite of all the chill, stay warm and enjoy the little sunshine while you can. That's it for this week's forecast. Until next time, I'm Delisha Williams, back to the studio.
We're continuing Panda Watch here at Eye on Sheridan. Today, the Toronto Zoo released new footage of the growing giant panda twins. A warning, this video may be too cute for some viewers. The Toronto Zoo released this footage of its twin giant pandas to celebrate the 100th day of life. It's Chinese tradition to mark a child surviving infancy. The twins were born in October. That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Kavya Yoganathan.
I'm Gaston Calzados. See you soon.